What's going on, guys? What's going on, Thai Squad? What's going on, everybody? So, the Indiana Pacers are going to the championship. The NBA Finals are going to the championship. And I am going to say this. Is that Indiana had to win this game. And I said this most importantly after game 4, after the Knicks won, that they were going to have to close it out. And that is what the New York Knicks did. I mean, that is what the Pacers did. The Pacers closed out this series. Like, we have to give the Pacers a lot of credit. We have to give the Pacers a lot of credit. 4-2. This was a game. It took game 6 to actually end this. It took a game 6 to end this series. We saw a lot of easy money buckets back and forth. We saw a lot of Jam City dunks back and forth. Now, New York really wanted to force a game 7. Karl Anthony Towns was questionable. Game 6. Jalen Brunson. I would say Jalen Brunson had an amazing playoffs. Even though you hold Jalen Brunson to 19 points, which we saw the Pacers just D up full court Jalen Brunson. We saw the Pacers like defense full court, half court on Jalen Brunson. They forced Jalen Brunson to pass the basketball. They forced Jalen Brunson to pass the basketball. You had Towns finish with 32. You had Towns finish with 32. You had Sherman come into the game with 12 points in 16 minutes. Thibodeau just got coached. This got outcoached by Rick Carlisle. The Pacers really wanted to win this game, and that is what they did. The Pacers did not want to go back to New York to play a game 7. And right now, I am going to say this. I'm happy for the Pacers. I'm happy for Miles Turner because he finally gets to go to a NBA Finals, spending 10 years with the Indiana Pacers. Miles Turner has seen the ups and downs. We've seen Miles Turner lose to LeBron James when LeBron was in the East. Miles Turner is finally going to a NBA Finals. We just have to recognize that he's going to an NBA Finals. And now, Miles Turner has a good team around him. We know Miles Turner has been in trade rumors all year long. In every season, Miles Turner has been in trade rumors every year. And look where he's going. To a NBA Finals. He had an 11-point game. 2 rebounds. This is something that, if you ask me that the Pacers would be in the NBA Finals right now, be in the NBA Finals, I would say this is probably a good thing for the Pacers. Because the Pacers, every year since 2018, they had to face LeBron James in the East. They had to face the GOAT, LeBron James, since 2016 in the East. Had to go against him every single year. And now that LeBron James isn't in the East anymore, we're seeing the Indiana Pacers get to a NBA Finals with Halliburton, with Miles Turner, with Obi Toppin. And I do think when we see Halliburton have another good game, 21, 13 assists, 6 rebounds. When we see Halliburton have 21 points, when we see Halliburton have 21 points, 13 assists, 6 rebounds in 37 minutes, Halliburton, game 4 or whatever, didn't have no turnovers. This was a good game for for Halliburton. And let's not forget, if we can go back a couple years ago, the Pacers traded for Halliburton. From the Kings traded Halliburton to the Pacers. The Raptors traded Siakam to the Pacers. Like, I get that this team doesn't have Paul George, doesn't have Paul George anymore. This Pacers team, I think the lob to the Jam City lob from Halliburton to Obi Toppin was the exclamation point to say the Pacers are going to the NBA Finals. That is what the explanation point was in this game. You can say there was a big factor that they wanted to win game 6 last night, because honestly, the Pacers started off a little bit slow in the first 2 quarters. The Pacers started off a little bit slow in the first 2 quarters, in the first half. when you start off slow like the Pacers did, there is going to be some question marks. And what the Pacers did that second half, they turned it around. Like when the New York Knicks don't hold the Pacers under 100 points, like, is this something that we can look at and say, look back now, that the Knicks traded for Karl-Anthony Towns? The Knicks gave up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. We can say that all about the Knicks. But when we talk about how the Knicks just lost this game, we can go back and look at games 1 for game 6 and say that we all know that this Pacers team was ready. Because every basketball fan, I could tell you this, every basketball fan knew who was on the New York Knicks roster. Not every basketball fan knew who was on the Pacers roster. They better know now because the Pacers are in the NBA Finals. This is just something that with the Pacers, honestly, right now, when you have we saw Naismith go down with an injury, which I hope he's able to play game 1. But we seen like Naismith go down. Miles Turner again had a good game, like going to the NBA Finals, spending 10 years with the Pacers, being in trade rumors every year. And look where Miles Turner is now. He was drafted to the Pacers. Halliburton. When you let Halliburton score 21, 13, and 6, and you let Siakam just score, you let Siakam score 31, you let Siakam score 31 and 3 and 6, and Siakam is the Larry Bird MVP. When you let that happen, it's just like the Knicks put up 108 points. And you cannot hold the Pacers to under 100. Under 100. Like the love to Obi Toppin. The love to Obi Toppin was just a statement. It was a statement for the Pacers to say we're going to the NBA Finals. It was definitely a statement for the Pacers to say we're going to the NBA Finals. Because now a lot of people are going to talk about how the New York Knicks traded for Karl-Anthony Towns, traded for Karl-Anthony Towns, traded for Mikal Bridges. And now you're looking at Siakam as the Larry Bird MVP for the East. You're looking at Halliburton going to a NBA Finals. If I'm the Sacramento Kings right now, and I know I'm about to get off topic here. If I'm the Sacramento Kings right now, I am looking at this and saying, did I just trade away a surprising superstar? Like, I don't care who says Halliburton isn't a superstar. I am going to say Halliburton is a superstar. Siakam won Larry Bird MVP, which we know that Siakam has been to an NBA Finals. We know that Siakam has that championship appearance. Rick Carlisle won a championship. Rick Carlisle won the hardest championship ever with the Dallas Mavericks against that 2011 Miami Heat team. When you say you are going to bring a team like this, and you're not going to say that the Pacers are now going against the Pacers are now going against the OKC Thunder. This NBA Finals is probably going to be a good NBA Finals. Because you got the MVP in Chet, and you got the MVP in Shea, I mean. You got the MVP in Shea. You got Chet Holmgren. You got J-Dub. On the other side of things, going into this, you got Halliburton. You got Miles Turner. You got Siakam. But I know I'm getting off topic about that. But I am going to say this. Is that with the Pacers going to the NBA Finals, you let Siakam hit easy money buckets. You let Siakam score 39 game 2. You let Halliburton hit the Reggie Miller celebration, hit the Jalen Brunson celebration, hit the Sam Cassell celebration. Like, Halliburton. You can say that Halliburton is a superstar. Halliburton is a superstar. Halliburton is a superstar. And you let the Pacers, you let Halliburton score 21, 13, and 6 again. Siakam scored 3 and 5 rebounds. You let Miles Turner get to his first NBA Finals. 10 years for Miles Turner with that Pacers team. And let me say this. If Halliburton wins a championship, if Halliburton wins a championship, if Halliburton wins a championship, I think Halliburton will become a all-time Pacer. Because if we look at this team is kind of like the Warriors. It's kind of like the 2015, 2014 Warriors. In my opinion. But this Pacers team does not have Steph Curry, does not have Draymond Green. This Pacers team has Siakam, Miles Turner, Naismith, Halliburton. If this Pacers team wins the NBA Finals over OKC, I would say that Halliburton is still going to be a superstar because, let's just say hypothetically, if LeBron James spent his whole career as a Cleveland Cavalier right now, if LeBron James spent his whole career as a Cleveland Cavalier, I think LeBron James would still have a championship. But for Halliburton, for Miles Turner, if they win a Siakam, if they win a championship, I would say that this Pacers team is going to be possibly one of the greatest teams ever that we're going to see, because if this Pacers team wins a championship, if Halliburton wins a championship, Miles Turner, this entire group, I would say those guys would have to be all-time Pacers. Because like I said, if LeBron James spent his whole career with the Cleveland Cavaliers and still won championships, and let's say Halliburton wins a championship, Miles Turner wins the championship, Siakam, that would put them in the conversation with the likes of LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Shaq, Kobe. Because this team haven't been to a NBA Finals since 2000, since they went up against, since the Pacers had Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, and they went against Kobe and Shaq in the 2000 Finals. So this is the first time ever that the Pacers are going against going back to the NBA Finals as the second straight time. The other thing is that Indiana shot the ball better from the field goal range. Indiana shot the ball better from free. Indiana got to the line more. Indiana the Pacers here, really dominated here. They dominated a game that we could say that is probably going to be a series that we're going to be talking about for years now. Because when we look at this, we're going to remember how the Pacers came back game one, and how this rivalry between the Knicks and the Pacers mean a lot. Because the New York Knicks only got 41 total rebounds out of the Indiana Pacers 36. The Pacers got more defensive rebounds and more assists and more blocks. The only thing about the New York Knicks, we're going to be talking about their 17 turnovers. That is what everybody's going to look at. Everybody's going to look at the 17 turnovers, because the way that the Knicks started, they came out hot. They came out ready to play. But now that New York didn't force a game 7 here, don't you think for a minute that the New York Knicks would probably be a team that could get this team get over the hump? Because this is the second year in a row that you lost to the Pacers. Second in a year you lost to the Pacers. Because now the Pacers are going back to the NBA Finals. And we can look at this as the Knicks had 17 turnovers. The Knicks couldn't force a game 7. Karl-Anthony Towns was questionable. There is going to be just big probably question marks, because for New York now, they're not in the playoffs anymore. Like Jalen Brunson was literally guarded half court. Like, this Pacers team did everything that they wanted to do on their home court because they did not want to go back to New York and play a game 7. Like, you're going against the Pacers are now going to the NBA Finals since 2000. And the last time the Pacers was in the NBA Finals, they had to go against Kobe and Shaq. But we could look at like some bright things for New York. Is that for the Knicks? Is that when Karl-Anthony Towns scores 22, 2, 14, OG scores 24, Brunson scores 19. Like, you did start, you brought Shaman in the game, you brought Wright in the game. But for New York, there was this, like, certain things that you really can't have in a game, because now what is the question for New York? They're going to have certain questions. Like, is the New York Knicks a good basketball team? Or is this a trend where second round get bounced out? Conference finals get bounced out? Like, Jalen Brunson, I can say about this. Seeing Jalen Brunson play this entire playoffs, see him playing this entire playoffs, I think Jalen Brunson proved to all the Knicks fans that it was a good signing for New York and for the Knicks currently. Because now look who you got on the team. You got Carl Anthony Towns. You got Mikal Bridges. You still got Josh Hart. The New York Knicks really didn't have enough. Like, they played good against the Celtics. They played good against New York. But when you're going against a Pacers team that literally has Siakam, that has Halliburton, that has Miles Turner, Neesmith, all of these guys. Like, Neesmith went down with an injury. I hope he's able to play game 1 or game 2 against OKC. But for the Knicks, like, you have to answer this question, because now you're out of the playoffs. You lost to the Pacers twice in a year. What else is there for you to say that, yeah, New York can be a good team? Because Halliburton is a superstar. When you let Halliburton score 21, 13, and 6, when you let Thomas Bryant score 11 points and hit threes and hit easy money buckets, when you let TJ McCollum score 3 points off the bench, like, the Pacers didn't want to go back to New York for a game 7. I think the Pacers are more a good match for OKC than the New York Knicks. Because now you're saying this is going to be a good NBA Finals. For the Pacers and the New York Knicks. But you're also saying that the Knicks basically just gave up. The Knicks looked tired. The Knicks looked like they were lost out there. Yes, they won 2 games. We can give them credit for that. But losing 4 in a row, it's just like a daunting thing. Where is this going to be a trend where the Knicks don't, I know I'm getting off topic here, the Knicks don't win a game, just get bounced out second round, first round, conference finals? Because now you haven't been to a NBA Finals since that Freewell, Patrick Ewing era. Like, there's just, you have to have something to show for it. Like when you have Siakam again winning Larry Bird MVP for the East Conference. Halliburton scoring 21 and 13. Miles Turner going to his first NBA Finals after being in trade rumors every single year. This Pacers team was just a better basketball team. And we're about to see we're about to see this team go against this Pacers team go against a team in OKC that is probably going to give them a 7-game series. But guys, sub if you're new and never give up your dreams. And I hope all of you guys are safe out there and stay blessed, everybody. In peace.